consider. It's not something we want to do, but we're looking to save money in the budget. I think we have to consider that.
Because otherwise, we're using the custodian for school services under their overtime.
So those are the details of the budget freeze. I will be sending out a concise and direct memo
Pretty direct.
to the staff tomorrow, because I know there have been a lot of questions, and certainly we'll put that information up on the website and make it available to the Finance Committee or anyone else that would like to see it. And it'll be shared with the Finance Planning team on Wednesday.
But I think the bottom line, as we discussed, at best, we can hope for maybe $50,000 in savings from all of this, correct? Isn't that the number we kind of kicked around, or is it?
I think we can do better.
I think we
than
can
that.
do better. I'm using 50 to 100,000. You know, there's so many factors that are hard to know now. Utilities can swing $100,000 in a year for the school department. Pricing, you know, I'm comfortable saying 50 to 100 with this on a conservative projection.
Well, hopefully with energy prices coming down, if they stay low for a while, the $150,000 that was approved at town meeting for that energy fund might not have to be used, and so there may be other funds in our cost for gasoline, for our vehicles, and for the gas heat for our buildings. Hopefully.
Well, you know, energy conservation takes a lot of work, and for example, Friday afternoon, we literally went to look at the weather forecast for Saturday and Sunday, and decided to shut off every boiler at all 5 schools. And
It might be warm.
Yes, because it was going to be warm, and we decided not to fire them back up until 6 o'clock this morning. But it's measures like that that take a lot of planning, but it works. This wasn't that cold weekend, so but that's the point. The point is you can do these things, and I think our colleagues in the town will be doing the same.
Carl, can you just explain, you say you turned off the boilers, what would happen what's our normal procedure anyway when we go into the
We set
turn the heat on and off at certain times?
55. 55 is our fallback temperature, and
And that happens at what time?
55, about 3, every school's a little different, but about 3 p.m. all of the buildings are clock thermostated back to about 55 degrees, and come back on to about, I always say about because the different regions of the buildings have different, they come back to about 68 at around 6 a.m. in each building. But by turning the boiler off, we don't certainly have to worry about any freezing pipes over the weekend. But that also meant that we lose the capacity to heat water. That's the other factor, that turning the boiler off. But that wasn't really an issue over the weekend.
And I have listed out some and started to talk about tier 2, because again, if we're dealing with, we're not quite sure what that budget shortfall will be, and again, certainly if it amounted to $729,000 as reported by the Board of Selectmen, none of this will meet that kind of a reduction. So it's important to remember this was predicated on the finance planning team meeting in the order of about $330,000 to $350,000 to be split by the school and the town. So I had listed out some what I call tier 2 savings, and these would require substantial discussion. But these are just being put out there. But should we find ourselves in a situation of having to cut back at the level that was reported last week in the newspaper, I need to be back talking to the school committee about a return to last year's schedule, and it would mean a reduction in time. I would be proposing reductions in our after-school programs, athletics and extracurricular activities, or making them fully 100%. This is for FY09. I know we're just thinking about that for FY10. I certainly would look at rescheduling, and whether or not we would make changes in staffing. And another suggestion would be to close the school for 3 weeks in January, eliminate April and February vacation, and extend the school year. You would need immediate savings because, as I said, Tier 1 is not going to, is not going to meet those needs. And that's with the level of everything that I've explained, so.
And that's before knowing whether or not we're going to get state aid reduced also. I mean, that,
Right.
we have no idea on that. I don't think we'll know till probably January, December, January timeframe. I think it's a real possibility, but we won't know until then.
Right. But all we're doing is really just buying time, because every one of these items will be up for
Right.
discussion for next year's budget.
Exactly.
So we're looking at this kind of reduction.
I've taken the initiative to contact the superintendents in Linfield, Reading, and Wilmington, and I'm hosting a meeting for those superintendents here on November 13th. The purpose of looking at ways in which we can collaborate on the delivery of educational services. So I think we need, and that's not for this year, but it's thinking ahead and as we look down the line. I do know just one last word. I know that the Fiscal Advisory Committee, FAC, has been working very hard, and certainly I know Mr. Webster will probably report on that, but you know, we would look to that group and other groups to help us think through how we can even be more efficient. But let me just end. This is a very difficult job when you are positioned where we are positioned relative to per pupil expenditures, and I'm very confident that the way in which we use funds provide a solid education for North Reading youngsters. And again, I'm so pleased with our presentation tonight from our high school students. We're able to do that based on the funding that we have, but there is a limit, and we're certainly right at that cusp.
I think that's the problem. We're at the limit, and to cut into that, and we've always talked about this, the minute you have to cut, you're cutting to bone right away. You just, there's not a whole lot of fat there. So,
I think one of the big ticket items that the town has to address, and everyone will agree, it's the health insurance. And, you know, we could certainly address it with the finance planning team, but I think I read that the Board of Selectmen intend to attend one of the next meetings.
Right.
I think it would be a good idea if one or some of us went as well. School employees make up the biggest group, and it's time to really get this whole issue moving.
So I believe they
So I
extended the
think-
date till December 1st, correct, to enter the GIC.
Yes,
So,
yes. So, you know, I think we should join members of the Board of Selectmen in attending that meeting.
and as the Fiscal Advisory Committee presented to the selectmen back about a month ago, savings for that program could range anywhere from, and of course, you have to be careful because you're not comparing apples to apples in terms of the insurance plans. They're not exactly the same, but savings could range anywhere from $700,000 to over $1 million for the town. But there's also savings for the employees on their premiums, and they're fairly significant in terms
Right.
of the savings. Now, yeah, there would be some increase in costs, some deductibles, et cetera, but or co-pays. But the bottom line is, it's tremendous savings on for both employees and for
Yes.
the town.
And it's gonna save dozens of positions in just the school department alone.
In fact, I believe the number I saw statewide, if every city, town employee went on the GIC program statewide, the savings would be $2.5 billion. That's pretty significant. That's not a small amount of money. So hopefully the town administrator and will be able to work that through and get the momentum going for that, because we have until December 1st, correct?
Yes, I think they changed, they did.
Okay. Okay, next, David, we have a report on class size, which is, for the most part, pretty encouraging, I think.
Well, I think it is.
For now.
Yeah, so you read tier two.
Right.
Annually, there are several reports that we make in terms of enrollment, and one of them is the class size. The 10-year projection report will come at the next meeting. So this report follows the standard procedure. If we look first at the elementary, classes from kindergarten through grade 5. You can see that we're running very consistently in terms of the number of sections across the 3 elementary schools, between 10 and 11 sections. And it's important to remember that way back when we planned our school facilities at the elementary level, that we were projecting 10 classrooms per grade in kindergarten through grade 5. So we have 10 sections of kindergarten, 11 sections of first grade, 11 sections of second grade, 11 sections of third grade, and 10 sections each of fourth and fifth grade. And many years ago, the school committee set a target for class size. Kindergarten through grade 2 should be 20 students, and in grades 3 through 5, 22. And so what I report here would be the average class size, and then the range of class sizes among all of those sections, and then the number of classes that exceed the target. So for example, in kindergarten, where we hope and expect the class sizes to be right at the target, our average is 19.5 students. And keep in mind, we have full day and half day kindergarten, and we make absolutely sure that even in the full day, where parents are paying a $4,000 tuition, that we don't allow that class size to go over the target. And so we have a range of up to between 17 and 22, and then 4 of the classes then are over that class size target of 20. In the first grade, we have an average of 19.8 or 20, range of 18 to 21, and all classes are within the target size. You can see that if we cut back then from 11 to 10, that you're going to drive that enrollment up to about 25 or higher in the first grade. And again, you get fluctuations among the 3 schools. In the second grade with 11 sections, the range is 19 to 25, and 3 of the classes are over the target. Third grade, the class size increases to almost 23 students on average, and the range is 21 to 25. 5 classes are over the target, and now the target is 22 in the third grade. Fourth grade, 10 sections, the average is 21, range is 20 to 23, only 1 class is over the target. And then in the fifth grade, 10 classes, average at 22.9 or 23, and we have 20 to 25 students on a range, and 7 classes. So fifth grade actually tends to be a little bit higher. We have a number of classes that are 25.
That's one of the concerns moving forward, is that fifth grade, we have 230 students.
Right.
And then the third grade, we have, I believe, more than 250.
252, right.
And those 2 classes, when they get to the middle school, are just going to be, it's going to be interesting to
See
how that works out.
So the second page would be the middle school, and we break this down grade 6, 7, and 8, and it's broken down in terms of the English language arts, math, science, social studies, and reading as the core subjects, and then general arts. And you can see that in the 6th grade, we're running 10 sections in every class, and we range from 18, in every core subject, 18 to 22, and that's a dramatic drop. Last year we had 9 sections, and the class sizes were 26 and up, and so we had a number of 6th grade classes of 28, 29 students. So we have been able to bring that down, and we've also added reading as a full-time subject in the 6th grade, and so this is